Right, we're here once again for our Week 6 Brawl competition for Planechase League. And we got Steve T, who's running a 4-color deck here. We're going to see basically two very, very opposite strategies here. 4-color, try and get to the late game, get all the value cards, big green things, versus Sawyer on the other side with his Killian Ink Duelist deck. So a little white-black, probably pretty assertive deck if I had to guess here. So what's his hand looking like over there?
Yeah, so what he's got right now is like a couple of just decent cards. He has Shepherd of the Flock, which is the adventure white uncommon,
Okay.
which was white mana bounce a creature you control to your hand, or maybe it was non-land permanent, but I remember specifically it was bouncing creatures most of the time.
Yep.
He's gonna play his Killian just on turn 2. Very
Yeah,
nice card to have
amazing.
on
It's
turn 2.
it's guaranteed on turn 2, right?
Yeah, and other than that, he has a couple of removal with Trapped in the Tower, Bone Splinters,
Okay.
along with a very powerful card with Veto, Thorn of the Dusk Rose, a huge finisher in its own right.
Yeah, yeah. I saw him play that like a few times this league, and it's already doing work here, taking away another 2 life. So Steve's starting hand is a little clunky here. He doesn't have a blue source. Um,
Okay.
he has an Archon of Absolution, which is that 3/2 flyer with protection from white. He does have
Oh,
another
that's
forest.
gross.
He has an Opt and a Kelpie Guide, which he can't cast. He has a Rootless U and a Greater Sandworm. So he has a couple big green creatures. But
Okay.
it looks like he's under pressure here and might not really have a way to stave it off just yet.
So yeah, basically what's happening here is that he has Trapped in the Tower. Uh, basically just deciding if he wants to use it on the horizon here to attack in, but he sees that Omnath could potentially come back in next turn and might want to actually. But yeah, it's not great to keep Omnath in place because the landfall ability is strong, especially against assertive decks.
Yeah,
Just gaining 4 life every land drop, up crippling sometimes against.
yeah. Your audio's cutting out a bit there.
Oh, is it okay?
Yeah, but yeah. So he decided just to attack in and put something else on the board, which is a 4/4. And like I said, Steve is without really good things to do. He has a Tranquil Cove here, but by casting a Tranquil Cove, it means he can't play as Archon, which means he doesn't cast anything this turn. He has a Greater Sandworm, which I imagine he'll cycle it. But yeah, he's in big trouble here.
Yeah, because he's gonna take 8 essentially just from the phalanx and the Killian.
Yeah,
He might even opt to block the phalanx just to save some life.
yeah. Vito making Killian effectively a 4/2 is just very crazy. I mean, he doesn't he
Yeah, it's
doesn't
quite a
gain.
curve.
I mean, he doesn't gain 4, but it makes the opponent lose 4. So that's more important than gaining an extra 2.
But yeah,
So
like Sawyer could just kind of sit back, go aggressive even more. You attack with Killian, attack with the phalanx, and just play 2 more.
I mean,
Like you just play
he could
fencing ace
also
and
just
shepherd.
he could also just activate the the veto for even more damage.
Yeah, it
Yeah. So
doesn't
since
block
he
here. Could
didn't
bring it down
block,
to 2.
he could just deal him 12, right? Like
Oh yeah, I could steal him 12, bring it out to 6, and then Vito's basically just wins next turn.
yeah, he says I'm okay dealing. I'll settle for just the 8 here. I mean, so he does get the Omnath next turn, and he will get a trigger to gain 4 life um, from the forest in his hand. But that still might not quite be enough here with the advantage that Sawyer's got in the early game, and looks like he has more stuff to play, right?
Yeah, just plays 2 more 2 drops here potentially. Just playing fencing ace, shepherd of the flock. That's another virtually 5 damage because of Vito. But just deciding that he's gonna keep shepherd of the flock up, save potentially just like Vito getting destroyed.
Yeah, I don't know what he can get to that's really going to change the trajectory here.
Like a very efficient removal essentially. Like if he had like a 2 mana removal, he got to start.
No, he has no removal in his hand. He has an Opt. He has 4 creatures. He has the Omnath. So he could play Archon here, which can block something safely. If Sawyer has a black removal, this game will be done.
He has bone splinters, which uses one of his creatures.
Well, does he have some other dorky creature he can play and just bone splinters that away?
Yeah, he can just play like Shepherd of the Flock and Bone Splinters that, and then he can just trap in the tower to 3/2, and that's no, that's 9 damage.
Yeah, it's
No,
still
that's 11 damage. That's lethal.
yeah.
So
It's
yeah, just
5, 7, 9, 11. Yeah.
yep. It's
All right.
just lethal if he does
Yeah. So I
flock.
mean,
Yeah.
there could be like a like a shore up type card here with the 1 blue mana. We know it's an opt, but he is gonna have priority here on 1 blue mana. So Sawyer is gonna track that. He's not gonna walk into one of those if he thinks it's there.
Yeah. Though he's opting to Bone Splinters away his fencing ace.
Okay. Interesting.
So he instead of like going for like playing the Shepherd of the Flock and Bone Splinters and see if he actually has it, he opts to do this. And I think if he had Shore up here, the game would be a little because pro white is so like protection from a color is such a messed up thing to have.
Yeah, they took away protection for years, and then they brought it back in a core set. I think it was M19 where they put it on one creature of each color and uncommon, and then they printed this in Eldraine. It was part of like a cycle of cards that hate on their own color, but this one was just so much far and away the best. It was so weird that they just put protection from white on it. Yeah, we really don't see that. We see hexproof from more commonly now.
Yeah. So now he opts to play the Shepherd of the Flock.
Yeah, so I
Uh,
don't know if Steve has access to a board wipe, but it's just about the only thing that's going to get him out of this trouble here. So even playing Omnath and gaining 4 is I don't think it's going to work. So
yeah, it only goes up to 10, and then Veto still kills you just from just the raw amount of like
yeah, so he can play
power it has.
Omnath. He could play a land. He can play his Gretchen Titch Willow here that he got to add to his pool at the beginning of the week. So that was yeah, there was a little wrinkle here with when we went into the AFR plane that we got that each player got to add one of the gold uncommons to their pool, and could opt to use them as a commander if they wanted to. Basically, it gave everybody an out to play any 2 color pair that was best in their pool, even if they didn't have a legend. He's just gonna main phase do this, and no matter how he blocks, it's definitely more than lethal here.
Yeah, if he would even manage to block everything, that there's still 10 power on the opposing side, so Vito would have killed regardless.
Yeah, veto is just it's a must kill in most situations. It's very hard to win the game through a veto in play.
Oh, yeah,
And
just
yeah, we
well,
see the power of just a focused 2 color deck. Just play stuff every turn. Doesn't have to be impressive. Doesn't have to be insanely high value creatures. Just play good little creatures. You know, go around what your opponent's doing, and that's that.
I mean, I'm just a fan of what Sawyer's doing because like he's basically just did the same thing that I did in Brawl League, which was play a very good 2 drop as a commander, and you always have that on 2. You're never gonna have better play on 2. It's always gonna be a solid play, and
Yeah,
it's always gonna
is
dictate the pace of the game because of how strong it is on turn 2.
I mean, I was doing the same thing in Brawl League. I took out my 2 drops except for ones that had high value in the late game. Um, yeah, so Sawyer is the reigning king of Brawl here, since he dominated the Brawl League with his Jan Jansen deck, and then won the top 8 with his Rasad deck, the monk that can exile creatures and then
Yes.
specializes. Yeah, and that was a black white deck. So yeah, he's like I said, reigning king of Brawl. He took off the last couple solo leagues. He took off, but he gave other people a chance to top 8. Sawyer did the last couple of solo leagues, but now he's right back in at this league, right up at the top, just under Johnny here. It looks like he's bringing in a scorching dragon fire. Looks like he's thinking about bringing in take up the shield.
Yeah. After that display that Sawyer put on, Steve definitely wants to put in a lower curve, which is
Yeah,
going to be A bit challenging considering he's 4 colors, but if it does pan out, he will have a stronger chance of being able to defend himself.
Yeah, so he's very much in Teamer, and white is like his lowest color, but he still has like quite a few white cards. Um, yeah, so hopefully his mana holds up here. I mean, he didn't really have gigantic mana issues last game. It was just like the cards he drew didn't do enough.
Yeah, not really. Well, not being able to play Kelpie God on turn 3 is kind of a bad thing. Was kind of bad because he it's a ramp spell on turn 3, and the way that deck is probably gonna work, it really needs a lot more mana than Sawyer needs
Yeah,
to manage.
and he was under pressure right away with the veto. Like that was just
Yeah,
devastating.
that was like a crippling 1-2 punch, just kill you into veto.
All right, so he's
Not
looking
much
at
you
a
could really do
hand
about that.
here that is not too exciting. He might. Okay, he decides to mulligan. Um, now he gets a hand that has only 2 colors, but there's a couple really good spells that he could cast. So I think he is going to keep it. So he has only blue and red mana. So he will have access to his Frost Trickster and his Demon Bolt, which I think he'll really need. So the Archon of Absolution and then the Pride Sovereign, which is the green cat with a white. You pay white and exert it to make more cats. So he has that. He's drawn a Plains now, which can cast his Archon. So it looks like he's going to be on his way here. He needs a green to cast his commander, but he'll be able to defend himself. Looks like Sawyer does not have his white mana just yet here.
No, but he still has an equally good 2-drop in Tenacious Underdog. He did throw back his first hand, which had like 4 lands and wasn't as aggressive as he expected to be. So he thought that the Pelican was,
Yeah, I mean, I
and
think I
it's
think his
backfiring
deck.
a bit here.
Yeah, I think his deck needs to be very committed to being aggressive, and you know, I could see that he would want to mulligan a hand that looked otherwise keepable if it just wasn't aggressive enough, even if he could cast stuff. Yeah, so Steve's hand has come along here. He's drawn another green card, which is not helpful, but he's got his Archon of Absolution. He's got his Demon Bolt. Again, the 2 green cards are not on yet, but once they are, he'll be okay because he's not going to instantly die here. This
It's
Archon's
just
going to be
kind of
extremely annoying for Sawyer if he doesn't have a removal for it.
yeah, making having to pay 1 for each creature to attack is like, especially for an aggressive deck, you don't really want to be using your attack. And
Yeah,
even then, like Archon has protection from half of Sawyer's
yeah,
deck.
yeah. I was gonna add
Oh,
aside from the
yeah,
annoying attack thing, it just walls half his deck.
not currently because he doesn't actually can play any white spells, but
Yeah. So what is all in his hand there that he's looking at?
so right now he has 3 white cards. He cannot cast them.
Okay.
So the only options he really has is to cast either a Smitten Swordmaster or a Baleful Amit. Probably gonna put the Amit on the Tenacious Underdog, just like 2 powers versus the same as 3 power on this board.
Yeah. Yeah. So Steve's continuing to draw in green. Is continuing to draw green cards. So whenever he finds his forest, he's going to be very happy here. Um, in the meantime, I think he's going to Demon Bolt this 4/3 here, and then he can attack here, and the race is very much in his favor.
Yeah, 5 damage versus 3. Uh,
Particularly, Sawyer can't really attack and cast spells. He can do one or the other,
yep.
right? So yeah, so Steve's actually holding his planes here. It doesn't help him cast anything, and he wants a land in hand for an Omnath trigger.
Okay, so
Yeah,
Sawyer's
because
drawn a swamp.
okay,
Means he can actually attack with both creatures and play his Smitten Swordmaster. Like 2/1 lifelink is very good here actually, because
yep,
again he lost his just lifelink creature.
that'll be very helpful. All right, so Steve's drawn just about the worst draw that he could find, which is normally you're happy to draw Titan of Industry, but not not in this current state of affairs. So he's just going to activate his Emberth because there's nothing else going on here. Like I said, 4 green cards and a Plains in hand. So we got dueling decks that can't cast anything here.
So Sawyer drew a land, so he can either choose to attack, or he can play a Writhing Necromass with touch. May opt to play the Necromass. That on this board, if your Necromass gets removed, you spent your turn doing something, especially since you could have been attacking, to gain life.
All right, well, here comes Gilded Goose off the top. Once again, not castable, but The other news is that these flyers are gonna just kill Sawyer faster than Sawyer can kill Steve. He does have the lifelink on the Swordmaster, but there's 7 damage coming his way and another 7 next turn if he doesn't do something about it.
Yeah, that's also kind of the big part where I was like hoping he attacks because like the Spin Swordmaster getting 2 life is a bit too important. Because if he's able to get 2 swings with that and get 4 life, die next turn.
Yeah, the
Whereas now,
Swordmaster attacking last turn is actually the difference here. Yeah. So yeah, very very strange game. We just see both players get color screwed, but Steve was able to play his flyers even though he kept drawing green cards. So Sawyer didn't draw his planes. So you know, very strange
well,
way
it's
that game
very
played out.
weird because even then, even if Sawyer drew his planes, I think it would have been very difficult for him to win just because of how the Archon just stops him from attacking, and he's getting pressured in the air, which he had no.
Yeah, the
So like,
Archon was a perfect card there.
yeah, really was.
All right, so on to a game three. Did Sawyer make any changes between the first and the second game, or that were
No,
noted?
he spent like 5 seconds thinking about it, and then like said, "I'm good if I draw both my colors, I'm fine."
Yeah. Well, yeah, that makes sense. Right, so here's a card you don't usually see very much, Cutthroat Contender, but it's a 1 mana 2/1 here that can put the pressure on. It's going to be quite a while before Steve has any permanents in play, unless he draws some cheap permanents. So he has 3 of his colors. He has an Opt, he has a Rootless Hue, he has Rocco, the Cabaret Caterer, and he has the Returned Past color, which is the card, the 4/2 flyer from Strixhaven, where you get back
Ah,
instant
okay.
sorcery or spirit, I believe. And here
Yeah,
comes
it's just
Killian, so pressure's on big time here. Runaway Together is going to the bottom because he would need to have a creature to cast it.
yeah.
And
There's no third opponent you could abuse.
yeah, he's drawn a good card, but he can't cast it. So the Shivan Fire would be just absolutely perfect here, but that's the one color he doesn't have. He also drew a Titan of Industry, so yeah, the mana troubles are very very apparent here. They were apparent in game one. We saw them in game two, and it's happening again in game three here. So 4 colors without many dual lands is it's a tall task. I think I
The
think
bright,
I think what you have to do is just play a 2 color deck with very very few cards of the other 2 colors to make this
I
work.
mean, the bright side for Steve is that Sawyer is stuck on 2 mana, though he's still
Okay.
gonna be able to play a 1/1 double strike. But yeah, so Sawyer, like is would like the third land, but doesn't really need it at the moment.
Yeah, Forest number 3 is off the top, and still nothing's getting cast. Even next turn, he doesn't have a play. So, Sawyer has pretty much free reign here.
So Sawyer has drawn another planes. It doesn't actually
Okay.
help him cast anything else. His Oathsworn Knight that he has in hand requires double black. So
Ooh, or
I
Sword
can
Knight. Yeah,
see
that's a good one.
I can see him just using Defiant Strike here on the Fencing Ace for 2 more damage, and also just to draw another card.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he's gonna do. He finds Vito, the MVP of Game One.
Yeah, well, that's going to put the pressure on big time. Ooh, like, that's going to really, really squeeze Steve's life total and really limit his options. I mean, he's already getting squeezed here. Yeah, so he needs, if he draws a mountain, he can just get rid of this Killian and stop taking that 2 every turn. But I don't know what all his good plays are going to be. He's trying to compulsive research, which normally you like to see it, but not in this state. And he's drawn a bunch more cards that aren't that great.
He
He
didn't
he
find a
did
red
draw
source.
a he draw no he draw a trapped in the tower though, but he's taking another bunch of damage this coming turn.
Yeah, this Vito's gonna come down. He could play Spontaneous Flight for 1 mana because of Killian.
Yeah, he has to discard to hand size here, so you could kind of just pick one of these 6 drops and whatever at random. Yeah, return past color is
Yeah,
the
so
one.
Vito could actually come down, and if he uses Spontaneous Flight, this is just 12 damage. Like he could just
Well, he can't do
bring.
both, right?
No, he could go Vito on Spontaneous Flight because Spontaneous Flight costs 1 mana due to Killian.
Ooh. Oh, Killian says spells cost 2 less when they target.
Yeah.
Wow, that is that just it?
That, no,
It's
I mean
just
that.
about, yeah, just about. Yeah, he never found a red. Yeah, it's just unfortunate here that we couldn't get to see this Omnath deck operate at full capacity. Even the game where he won, he still just didn't get to cast most of his cards. So yeah, this Killian deck looking pretty well suited to take on all these 3+ color decks where the fixing is not at a premium. And we see Sawyer take it down on the way to, what looks to be another top 8 appearance from him. So congratulations to Sawyer on the win, and we'll be back a little bit later with the next feature match.